structure of a formal letter. Unlike personal letters or informal letters, formal letters have a distinct structure and layout. So, when you are writing a formal letter, you have to strictly follow this specific format. So, there are some standard elements for a formal letter. We will be seeing each of these elements in detail. First one is the heading. Heading is also known as the letterhead. The heading shows the organization's name, full address and telephone numbers. So, here is an example of a letterhead. This is the name of the company, High Tech Graphics, and the logo will be there, and the complete full address of the organization will be also below that. So, this is known as a letterhead. So, if you are writing a letter in a letterhead, you need not write the from address again. The address is already here written on above the letter. So, if a letterhead is not provided, you have to include the sender's address. So, if you do not have a letterhead, you can write like this. You can include your name of the company, your designation. You can write that intended to the left, that is left aligned to the page. After writing the heading, you have to leave a line and then write the date on which you are writing the letter. It can be written in this format, 3 January 2015. This is the format, date, month and the year. Next is the inside address. So, after writing the date, leave one line and then write the inside address. Inside address is the address of the recipient. So, name, the designation, the title, then company name and post office and postal code, etc. There is the name, designation and company name and postal code. After writing the inside address, you will again leave a line and write the subject line. This element lets the recipient know at a glance what the letter is about. That is, even before reading the main content of the letter, the recipient gets to know about the subject of the letter by reading the subject line. So, you can write the subject line after the salutation or before the salutation. Both are accepted. So, you will be writing subject and putting a colon and writing the subject. After that, after the subject line, you will be again leaving a line and writing the salutation. Always try to address the letter to a person by name rather than by title. If you are writing an informal letter to your friend or your family or your father or mother or your sibling, you will be writing Dear Ashok, like dear and their first name. Formal letter. In the case of a formal letter, you will be writing Dear Mr. Gupta or Dear Mr. Sharma. You will be writing otherwise you will be writing their full names. Full name in a formal letter, whereas in an informal letter, you will just write the first name. Next is the message. This is the main content of the letter and usually occupies the maximum amount of space. So, the message will be you can write the message in separated as 3 paragraphs. The first is the introductory paragraph, then the main content and like the conclusion in the last paragraph. So, this is the main content, the message. So, each paragraph should be separated by a blank line. Next is at last you will be writing the complimentary clause. Complimentary clause can be written using any of these. It can be one word or it can be a phrase. Next is signature block. After writing the complimentary clause, you will be putting your signature, writing your name, your designation, etc. So, example is here, cordially, this is the complimentary clause and this is your name and your designation, or sincerely, name of the company, your signature and your name. Next, there are some additional information. In case if you want, you can add this additional information to your letter. Subject line is already discussed above. Another one is attention line. If you want, you can include this attention line in your letter. Just after the recipient's address, you can include the attention line, and below that attention line you can write the subject line. Then, if you are referring to any previous letters, you can use the reference line. If you are writing this letter in reply to another letter, you can refer to that letter and include a reference line. And you can also include enclosure notation. For example, if you are sending a job application, you will be writing the covering letter and you will be attaching your resume in the attachment. So, you can write enclosure, put a colon and write resume.